Hello everyone, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, and for today's card I am using my Arches watercolor paper. I have a lot of it. I hoard it. I can't help it. Although I will say with this technique, I've used many over the years. I've done this technique with many types of inks over the years and it just works. The nice thing though with the Arches is it is a very nice watercolor paper. And I had a piece in the pack that was already a little bit cut down, so I cut it in half and I pulled out the Simon Says Stamp Spring Flowers 4 stamp set. I had got this set, whichever release it was in, months ago. And then the Wafer dies, I ordered the Wafer dies and those showed up a month ago, whenever. It's all been sitting here. And I was just looking at it and I was like, I need to create with this. So I cut all the Wafer dies apart, sat down and made this card. So to start off with, I put all the greenery from the set into my MISTI. This is a huge set. This is a 6x8 set with a ton of images. And I'm going to use every single image from this set, which just really ticks off all the boxes for me. So anyway, I use my anti-static powder tool. And I'm inking up these stamps multiple times with clear embossing ink. With this watercolor paper, any watercolor paper really, there is a texture to it. And Arches especially, I'm using the smoother side of it, but it is still quite textured. And the best way to get a good impression is to just stamp multiple times, not push really hard or, you know, just reef on it sort of a thing. Because when you do that, especially with clear stamps, you're just mushing them and you're going to lose the detail. And with a set like this, I don't want to lose the detail because there's all those little like dash lines and everything. So I just stamped it I kept inking it up and stamping it about 3 times. If you take the time to stamp it, usually you get the best results. And it's something I have to remind myself of constantly because I'm always just flying by the seat of my pants and, you know, I never have time. But yeah, that's what I did. So I did all the greenery on this one piece and coated it all with detail white embossing powder, melted it all with my heat tool. On the other piece, I did all the floral pieces. And then in the end, I ended up actually cutting these apart a little bit just to make my life a little bit easier so that I don't have colors like running absolutely everywhere. And it just makes things go a lot smoother. So for the actual like technique or lack of technique, because literally this is the easiest thing in the world. This is literally, that's all I'm doing. I'm just rubbing ink onto it. You can use like distress inks, distress oxide inks, any water reactive ink should work for this. I've done, the distress inks, distress oxide inks, the Wendy Vecchi dye inks work really well for this. For today, I'm using the Inkon3 Atelier inks. These are really nice inks. I've done a couple videos on them already in the past. I'll hopefully remember to link to them. They are kind of unique in the sense that they were formulated specifically to do like watercoloring and things like that with. Really nice inks. They're just creamy and yet they're not like opaque pigment inks, if that makes sense. So I'm just rubbing the ink pads directly on this. Everything looks like a hot mess. It's gonna look like a hot mess till it's done. So it's gonna look like a hot mess, but I rub the inks on and then I spray it all heavily with water and then I set it aside. And I'm going to let them air dry. I'm not going to use my heat tool. I'm not going to really manipulate it. I do a tiny bit after I spray. You know, I use like my finger just to make sure the color like fills each area. And that's about it. So I did the greenery. And then when I get to the large sort of rose images, I use the yellow, the orange, and the red. This is where I fiddle a little bit more only because for whatever reason, that one spot right under my finger right now, there was like a line from the ink pad. Why it like these inks move, why it did that in that one spot, and it was really bothering me. I probably would have been fine if I just let it dry, but it was bugging me, so I wanted to fix it. So all I did was just smush more of the ink onto my work surface, and I'm just using a paintbrush to first kind of scrub it. This is where the Arches watercolor paper is really nice because you can get pretty heavy-handed with things. You can, you know, lift color, all that stuff because this is, you know, professional grade watercolor paper. But again, I think any watercolor paper for the most part will work with this. But yeah, I just end up going in and adding a bit more color and just kind of covering that spot. And in the end, it's fine. You won't even be able to see it. But my thing was I didn't want to fiddle too much. I didn't want to use a brush. The beauty of this is the colors, just let them do their own thing. I can get a little too, even though I do videos and I show like messy outside the lines watercolor, I'm still a bit of a control freak, and I still want to fiddle and add and move, you know, all that. Whereas the beauty of things like this is you just let it do its own thing. So I had a couple more little lines with the purple, but let it sit. It'll be fine when it dries. So I just kept going along for each different little floral here. So for this big sort of, it almost looked like a sunflower to me. So what I ended up doing was I used the brown on the center and then wiped a little bit heavier handed with the yellow here. Heavily spray it with water. I dab up just a little bit from the center there just because it was like a big pool of the water, and then set it all aside. I'm just going to do this over and over and over again until I have all of these images coated with ink and water. You need somewhere to set all these. I just have a hardboard off the side. I'll show it in a second because yeah, they're covered in water and ink and all that stuff. So I just set them aside and then let them completely air dry. I didn't manipulate it with my heat tool. I just wanted them to do their own thing. So after I was done with all of the main flowers, there's just one little bud. This is like a little like rosebud. This is the only one I technically painted, only because it's so small that I didn't feel like fiddling with like the very edge of my ink pad to try and do this, you know, and spray with water. I was like, I'll just paint this one because it's quick and easy. So that's all I did. I just smushed like corners of the ink pad onto a nonstick craft sheet and then just quickly like messy painted it onto the bud just so that little center area, because like the greenery's around it, and you get too much mix in with like green and orange, you're going to end up with just mud. So this was just a quick and easy little way to make this work, or you could leave this image out. But I wanted, like I said, I wanted to use every single image from this set. So I've got them on my hardboard, set them aside to dry. Depending on your climate and all that stuff, however long it takes. It's been super hot here. These dried quite quickly. And then once they were dry, I am going to die cut all of these with the coordinating wafer dies. This was exactly why I bought this wafer die set. There's no way I would fussy cut all these images. Like I'll do a couple depending on, you know, what I'm creating and whether or not I have the wafer dies. You know, I've mentioned I'm just, the older I get, my hands can't handle the fussy cutting, but especially things like thick watercolor paper like this, like 140-pound watercolor paper. This stuff is thick. Cutting through it is not easy, and no. So I taped all the wafer dies into place. All these pieces are really warped because I sprayed them so heavily with water. But I taped the wafer dies into place just with some painter's tape, ran them through my die cut machine. They're all die cut and fabulous. So now they look a million times better than the mess they looked like before. And then after I die cut everything, I trimmed down a piece of Simon's Fog cardstock. And then I trimmed down a piece of heavyweight white cardstock. The white cardstock I trimmed to 7 inches by 8.5. I'm going to score it at 3.5 inches. So it'll be a 3.5 inch by 8.5 inch slimline card, of course. I'm still obsessed and will continue to be for who knows how long. I'll still mix in some A2 cards here and there. Like, it just is what it is. But I love the slimline. There's just something about it. Anyway, I have my card base. And I took the Fog cardstock, I trimmed it to just slightly smaller than what my card base will be. And I stamped a sentiment from the Greetings Mix 1 stamp set. That's one of my favorite sentiment sets. So I stamped the sentiment with the clear embossing ink, white heat embossed it onto the Fog cardstock, just kind of kept it a little more subtle. And then on the inside of the card, I am just going to start stamping a bunch of these images with those same Atelier inks, and doing some very lazy masking. You could hand cut mask. Masking, actually, I don't mind doing. I don't mind doing the fussy cutting for masks because they're cutting through such thin masking paper that it doesn't hurt my hands like it does when you're trying to cut through like cardstock, watercolor paper, etc. But I didn't want to do masks for these, especially on the inside of the card. So I did lazy masking. I just stuck a piece of Post-it tape. It's basically what I did. That's it. That's all the masking I did. It doesn't need to be perfect. Again, it's the inside of the card. It doesn't need to be perfect. If this was for the outside of the card, I would do like proper masks, you know? But I just wanted to mask so the lines weren't completely overlapping each other. And then I just kept inking up the images with the same colors I used to do the like faux watercoloring. And then I just did one very light spritz of water, hardly any. That just makes lets the ink kind of blend into each other. So I didn't have any harsh lines from the ink pads. And then I just kind of stamped like this cluster here on the bottom inside of this card. So I just kept going along, adding some ink, misting it really lightly, stamping it onto the inside of the card until I kind of filled like the bottom half almost of this card. And then I pulled another sentiment from the Greetings Mix 1 stamp set. And I was originally going to stamp it in gray, but then I decided to stamp it in that yellow Atelier ink just because. Why not? So stamp that on the inside. So now the inside of the card is complete. So for the card front, I did a bunch of fiddling, kind of creating cluster. That's something I'm not good at. I'm always amazed when you see like floral bouquets, like, you know, people that do it as a business or just have that. It's not even a green thumb. They can arrange florals so amazingly. I cannot do that. I don't know what it is. Not something I'm good at. But I did my best, arranged all of these how I kind of wanted them, and I just started adhering them. So I'm just using craft tacky glue for the most part, and then a couple of the blooms I'm going to use some little thin 3D foam squares just to kind of pop them up, and also just to really hold things down because there's so many pieces, and it's heavyweight watercolor paper, and you know, I want everything adhered. So I was also using my acrylic blocks just to hold everything down until the glue dried, because this craft tacky glue, once it's dry, it ain't going anywhere. So got everything adhered my panel to my card base, and then as a final bit of bling, because it just is meant to be, I used some of the Rainbow Party sequin mix from Simon's Crafty Hugs release, because the colors just went perfectly with this. So sprinkled those rather liberally throughout the card and adhered them into place with the craft tacky glue, just using my little embellishment wand here. And then my envelope also happens to match perfectly. This is the last piece of this pattern paper I have. I use my Trinity Stamps Slimline Envelope Builder wafer die. I'll link to another video I did in the right upper right corner showing how to actually assemble it. The pattern paper is no longer available. Apologies. Like I said, it's the last piece I have. It's from a Lawn Fawn pack from a while ago. I showed it there on screen. I'll link to some other Lawn Fawn 12x12 papers that are just fabulous. Like, Lawn Fawn makes amazing paper. So many 12x12 papers, but this one, of course, just went perfectly. So I made my envelope with that wafer die set and pattern paper to go with my card, and that finished everything off. So I will have links in the description box below the video. I will link to everything I used. I'll link to that wafer die set for the envelope, and then some other options for the pattern paper, the stamp set and sequins and all that stuff, totally available. So I'll have links, of course. And yeah, that can be checked out below the video in the description box. And thank you all so much for watching and subscribing and thumbs upping and commenting. I really appreciate it. And I will see you all very soon in the next video. Bye.